Yes. What's happening, everybody? It's Wednesday night, 10 o'clock Central Time. We've got UFC Singapore, which is going to be headlined by Max Holloway versus the Korean Zombie here Saturday night. Actually, Saturday morning. If you're like me in the Midwest, I think we're starting at 4 a.m. And if you're on the East Coast, 5 a.m. And if you're on the West Coast, I believe it's a 2 a.m. start time. So this is going to be a wild card. And you got to be really pot committed if you want to wake up for this one, or if you want to try to stay up all night. There's really only two ways to do it. You either stay up all night or you get up really early. And I still haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but it's going to be a fun card to watch. And I am not missing Na Liang. You got to set your alarm for 15 minutes before the fight starts, at least, because chances are the fight might be over before it even starts. Na Liang fights don't last long. I've got it on my spreadsheet here. Let me see. Let me get it. I know it's a full screen of me, but let me see. What is Na Liang's average fight time? It is 3.85 minutes, and that's over a 25 fight sample size. So we're going to have some fun talking about these fights, trying to find some ways to stack cash tickets like flapjacks. I'm going to bring up the prop template here so that you guys can see it. And what you're seeing along the bottom of the screen there is why won't it share? All right, I guess we're no longer sharing. All right, there we go. Is the address to the Patreon, where you can get access to all the stats that you see here on these shows, Stat Diggers, on Probability when we do that on the MMA Engine, right here on Just the Tip, and on Ask Weezy. We've got the stats for every single fight. I just finished up the stats for 3 weeks from now. I believe it's UFC 293. So I'm trying to stay 3 weeks ahead. So you get the stats 3 weeks ahead, right around the times the opening lines usually start to drop for people that like to get ahead. But yeah, these matchup stats that you see here, the prop template that you see here that has all the analytics. For instance, you ever wonder in featherweight fights that are scheduled for 5 rounds, how many go under 3.5 rounds? Well, if you subscribe to your Uncle Weezy's prop template, now you know that it's 60 or 50.98%. It's 26 out of 51 fights that have been scheduled for 5 rounds since the year 2013 have went under 3.5 rounds. So we know the benchmark. We know how many times Max Holloway has been scheduled for 5 rounds and how many times he's went under it, 4 of 13. We know how many times the Korean Zombie went under 3.5 rounds in 5-round fights, 5 of 8 times. You add those up, it's 9 of 21, or 42.86%. And then we can weigh that against the implied probability of the betting line to figure out what the pricing is, because if we can compare these 3 metrics to each other, the implied probability of the line, the benchmark for the division, the combined performance of the 2 combatants at the UFC level, we've got a really good idea of how the line is priced, which ways the bookies are shading things. And then we also have access to all the information in one place for each bet, whether it's fight doesn't go to decision, whether it's the under 3.5 rounds, whether it's under 2.5 rounds, whether it's the over 4.5 rounds, or the fight starts round 4. We've got it all. So please consider joining the Patreon. It's the best way to support the work. $5 a month for the basic stats, $10 a month for these advanced stats that include the divisional benchmarks and how each fighter compares to those benchmarks, and $20 a month for the prop template that gives you all the necessary information all in one place to make your over-under bets. And then in addition to that, we are going to have a brand new prize picks template, which is shaping up to look like this right now, where we're going to do significant strikes and we're going to have all of the benchmarks in one place. How many times the fighter A goes over on offense, the prize picks, the underdog, and the bet online props. How many times the fighter B allows more than that many. The combined totals, and the expected values, which are complicated formulas, which I'll explain to you guys at some other time when this thing is all ready to go. And we're going to have benchmarks for average fighter, for the average for each division, for the winning fighter, for the losing fighter. And we've got access to all of these particular analytics right here in another spreadsheet, which I call my Prize Picks Analytics. And we can see right here, if I were to zoom in, we have benchmarks for each division. This is the men's flyweight division. You get 0.49 knockdowns per 15 minutes for a winning fighter. The average is 0.29, 3.2 significant strikes landed per minute, 7.51 attempted. And that's coming from this data that we have over here, which has every fight that's happened in the flyweight division since the beginning of the year 2013. So we've got all the stats, we've got all the analytics, and then you can get access to them on the Patreon at the address that you see down there on the screen. But what's up with you guys in the chat? You got any questions for me about UFC Singapore? What's on your minds? Ask me anything. Let's open up your Uncle Weezy and just let the information spew out of him, like the ejaculate that comes from Na Liang when she goes into that cage and blows her wad in 90 to 120 seconds, going completely balls out and then death gassing and losing the fight inevitably every time. So let's go, you guys. What's happening with you people in the chat? 17 of you already in here live. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. And ask me some questions. Let me know what you need to know about UFC Singapore. We got my guy Victor De Jesus is in the room saying, "Oi, yes, what's up, Weezy in chat?" We got Eli, my guy, in the room saying, "Sure all." I know that Eli's got to be real happy this week because he's from the part of the world where these fights are taking place, so he doesn't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning like we're going to have to be getting up, because he's actually on the right side of the globe now to get these fights at a more digestible hour. So good to see you, Eli. I hope all is well with you, brother. Always good to see you hanging out in here. Let me know if you got any questions about this event. And we got Victor saying, "Weezy, I got a 2-unit parlay that consists of Aldridge Na under 2.5 rounds, Holloway Zombie over 2.5 rounds. Tell me it's going to hit so I can feel better." Well, I've got the Aldridge Na under 2.5 rounds as well. I got it at a really good price. So if that hits, we'll be crying in our beer together. And then the Holloway Zombie over 2.5 rounds. Well, let's have a look at your Uncle Weezy's prop template, because he's got the information all in one place, Vic. Let's go. And where is? Oh, damn. I just gotta lower that. There we go. All right. So we're talking about an over 2.5 rounds. Minus 245 is the line right now. It's a 71% implied probability. About 62.75, almost 63% of the 51 fights in the featherweight division that have been scheduled for 5 rounds have went over 2.5 rounds. So you're overpaying by about 8.26% when you compare this metric and then you subtract this metric. 62.75 minus 71.01 equals negative 8.26%. But the good news is that Max Holloway in 13 UFC fights has only once in 13 went over, or has only went under 2.5 rounds once. For Zombie, it's 3 of 8. But when you add them up, it's 17 of 21 fights, or 81%, or I'm sorry, it's 81%, yes, but we're only paying 71% on the line. So we really like that number. We've got a fat 21 fight, 5 rounds sample size here. So we've got a really good piece of data, and we've got a big green number here. And then also, if we compare this 81% combined over 2.5 rate for these two guys, and we compare it to this number, 62.75%, it's an 18.2% break. So if you were to add up this number, and this number, you're getting about 20% in price savings. So that over 2.5, I like it stylistically because Max Holloway takes a while to finish people. He's an attritional striker. He's not landed a lot of knockdowns in the UFC. And we have seen the Korean Zombie knocked out a few times, but it usually does happen later on in a fight. The guy is very durable. He's very game. This probably will be his retirement fight, but I like this over 2.5. It's not overpriced here, Vic, and I love the Na Liang under. I mean, that one's just ridiculous. If we were to look at the Na Liang under 2.5 here on the prop template, So it's around minus 180. Let's see where they have it right now. Yeah, minus 182. So we'll just leave it at minus 180 on the template. That's good enough. That's a 36.7% benchmark for the division. That's how many fights, what percentage of the flyweight fights go under 2.5 rounds. But we're paying 64%. So we're overpaying 27.6% here. But see, here's the thing. It's a Na Liang fight. So we don't really care that JJ Aldrich isn't a finisher. JJ Aldrich has been finished in half of her losses. So that leaves the door open for a potential Na Liang first round finish. If she doesn't get that finish, she comes out in the second round completely gassed. So just because JJ Aldrich couldn't finish a glass of water, this is Na Liang. She's easier to finish than a glass of water. Like, for instance, I have a glass of water right here, okay? By the end of this show, and I'm old, I'll finish this glass of water. There's nobody out there that can tell me, oh, no, Uncle Weezy, he couldn't finish that glass of water. I can finish this just as easily as JJ Aldrich can finish Na Liang after she completely blows her load and has nothing left in the gas tank. I'm going to sip on this water. You want to feel better, Vic? That parlay's hitting. It got the Uncle Weezy stamp of approval. I might even tail you on it and track it. I love it. We got my guy B Nix in the room, and you know what he has to say? He has to say, "Oi, what's up, B Nix? Thanks for hanging out with us, brother." We got local man shakes fist saying right before the PFL main. Oh, I don't even care. Don't care. Sorry. Oh, he says local man shakes fist. What's up, dude? Maybe we'll have some people pour in here after the main event happens. I didn't even know PFL was going on, but you know, PFL, that's their problem. They know that Ask Weezy is Wednesday nights, 10 o'clock Central Time. They want to go up against that and lose all their ratings. That's on them. That's why they're a poorly managed organization. We got Mr. Paku in the room saying, sure, Eli and Weezy, brother, what's up, dude? Thank you for hanging out with us. Let me know if you got any questions about this card. We got my guy EQ in the room saying, oh, yes, what's up, EQ? Jester is saying, let's get it, Weezy. What's up, Jester? Thanks for hanging out with us, brother. We got Victor de Jesus saying, it starts at 5 a.m. for me, and that's perfect. I'm a third shift guy, so in my case, I'll just have to stay up a little longer than usual to catch the main event. See, there you go, man. That worked out good for you, dude. I don't know what I'm doing yet, Vic. Oh, God, do I try to stay up all night? I mean, that would probably be dumb if I did that. I mean, I would definitely need some kind of woohoo, you know, a little bit of help, so to speak. And I don't have any, you know, so I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna try to like go to bed way earlier than normal. Maybe see if I can knock myself out with something and then wake up at 4. But it's gonna be interesting. But I'm glad it's working out for you, man. I'm glad it's working out for all my brothers and sisters over there in Southeast Asia and in Australia and New Zealand, because you all are getting it at a normal time. Hawaii, you know, Far East, they're all loving this start time. Me, not so much, but you know, it's Na Liang fight week, so I am waking up for it one way or another. We got Yippee Kaye in the room saying, oi Weezy, will your Singapore picks shave the ass of WWP choices? I have no idea, man. I don't know what they're picking for this week, the We Want Picks guys, but those guys usually do pretty well, I know. So we're gonna find out. But if you missed just the tip last night, I can run you through my picks here real quick. Oh, wait, they were already there. They were already there. Max Holloway, knockout, round 4. Ryan Spann, knockout, round 1. Chikadze by decision. Nakamura, second round knockout. Santos by decision. Tafa, first round knockout. Waldo Cortez Acosta, third round knockout, attritional. He's gonna beat the shit out of Lucas Bresky. That is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. And then your Uncle Weezy's Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week is Toshiomi Kazama with a second round submission. I got him beating Garrett Armfield, and I got 1 unit on him at plus 142. We got Mihail Lord Oleksiejczyk, second round knockout. We got Rolando Bedoya by third round knockout. We got Yusaku Kinoshita, third round knockout. JJ Aldrich, second round knockout. And we got Sungwoo Choi. Every time I see that Choi, I want to call him by the name of the old Cubs first baseman, Hee-Sop Choi. I always want to say Hee-Sop Choi, and it's gonna happen where it slips out one time. So I just want you to know that at some other point when I'm breaking down a Sung Woo Choi, you're gonna be like, Uncle Weezy's losing his mind, and he called him Hee-Sop Choi. Hee-Sop Choi, big ups, Korean baseball player that played for the Cubs and then like got ambulanced off the field one day when he bounced his head off the off the infield trying to catch a pop fly, which he did catch. First time I ever saw an ambulance on the field was for poor Hee-Sop Choi. But yeah, anyway, those are the picks for the week. We'll see if we beat him or not, man. I'm not going to be keeping track. Too much to do to worry about what everybody else is picking and how I measure up to them. It's all about putting in the work, giving you guys my reads that are backed by the stats and the tape study that I do. So yeah, always going to try to do the best I can here and try to give you guys some winners and some winning bets. First time in a long time in ages, I don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. Sunday morning to watch fights. Saturday night card in Australia. That's awesome, man. You guys deserve it. You have to wake up way too early to watch your favorite sport. And those of us here in North and South America, we take it for granted that we always get it at the time that we want it at. So yeah, good for everybody in Australia being able to watch it at a normal time. We got Kid Kick in the room saying, Unc, how am I even going to be able to watch this card? I'm going to go to sleep and pray I make money when I wake up. That might be the case, man. And sometimes that's how it goes, dude. You wake up and you're like, holy shit, I swept my bets, and other times it'll go okay. Other times it'll go bad. Who knows, man? Who knows? But it's going to be hard for a lot of people to actually make this card and watch it live. We got Rem Dog in the room saying, what's up, Unc? And he's giving us an oi. What's up, dude? Let me know if you have any questions. We've got Uncle Weezy. Out of the top 10, who do you see having a chance to beat O'Malley? Well, definitely, I think Merab. Merab can beat anybody. The pace that he puts on is something. He's just somebody who refuses to fuck off. He's a pest. He's a crotch sniffer, but he will not stop. And you got to back guys like Davalishvili because their style and their ability to be able to push the pace that they do is such a cheat code in MMA that it makes it so much easier for them to win fights. So I love betting on guys like Merab Davalishvili, the guys who can break their opponents in half with the pace. And they don't take damage when they fight with that style. You never saw Khabib Nurmagomedov coming out of a fight with his face all busted up. He came out looking clean every damn time. And it was because he doesn't take damage. He doesn't do stupid shit. He does what works. And he pushes a pace that breaks people. And when you're the one on top landing ground and pound, it's kind of hard to get your face busted up. It's kind of hard to get concussions. So I think that Merab absolutely has a great chance to beat him. But this is the bantamweight division, and somebody like Marlon Vera, in a 5-round fight, he doesn't get hurt. That's the thing. Sean could be about as precise as he could be. Marlon probably eats everything that lands and just, eats it like a flapjack and keeps walking forward. And eventually he could break somebody like O'Malley. Shit, I thought Sterling just fought. Like one of the dumbest game plans I've ever seen. You look at the Corey Sandhagen fight and how similar of a matchup that was to this fight. And you saw how he fought in the Sandhagen fight, and then you see how he fights in the O'Malley fight, and you're like, dude, if you're scared of like what's basically like a 250 to 1 shot, because he's like, I'm worried, that I can get caught with a jump knee shooting in. How many times you see somebody getting caught with a jump knee shooting in and it ends the fight? Once a year? If you're afraid of low percentage outcomes like that and it keeps you from fighting to your best win condition, then you're just a dumbass. That was a terrible fucking strategy. And I feel bad for the Aljo bettors. I picked Aljo. I thought he was going to submit him in the first round, but the line was too wide for me. And I kind of felt like whatever happened, if it went to decision, O'Malley was winning that decision the way that Paddy Pimblett won the decision against Jared Gordon. It's very clear who the UFC wanted to be president or wanted to be champion of the bantamweight division. One guy's likable, one guy's marketable, one guy brings eyes, and the other guy doesn't. So it's pretty much that simple. But I took a small shot on O'Malley by decision, but like that was a great performance. He landed a big shot, but there's a few guys in the bantamweight division. Shit, dude, this guy Rinya Nakamura, dude, he's a problem, man. This guy is an under 23 world champion in wrestling. You know, he gets dudes to the ground and he just keeps them there. He lands nasty ground and pound. He's got a ton of power on the feet. The bantamweight division is absolutely chock full of prospects everywhere you look. Guys that are going to have some kind of a shot to get into that top 15. But the only way you can get there in this division is to put together like 4 or 5 fight winning streaks, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult. There's just so much talent everywhere in the division. So, O'Malley's going to have he's going to try to like handpick his opponents to see if he can, stick around and be champion for a while. And I'm sure that's what the UFC wants, but it's going to be interesting. I hope he's got a pretty long reign, because I think he'll be an exciting champion. I love his style, that striking style. And he's a good personality. He's funny. And he's a unique fighter. So I'm wishing him the best. And I hope he keeps, bringing eyes to the sport, because that's what the sport needs. It needs more and more eyes. Shake AU in the room saying, what time's it starting for you, Weez? In Australia, we finally get a Saturday night event. I can't wait. I think for me, it's 4 a.m., which is about 2 hours after I go to sleep usually. I mean, like there's 2 nights a week where I'm doing shows until midnight. Like on Tuesday nights, I do a show until midnight, sometimes a little bit after, and then I'm up putting timestamps on it, and even sometimes doing a little bit of extra work. So yeah, I'm up late, but 4 a.m., I'm not up that late. So this is going to be a pickle for me. I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to pull this one off, man. Victor saying, hit that thumbs up, gentlemen. Yeah, let's do it. Let's hit that thumbs up. I appreciate you, Vic. Thank you, man. We got Local Man Shakes Fist in the room saying, Max being a huge favorite carries more meaning here because Zombie goes under when he's the guy finishing. Zombie goes under when he's the guy finishing. Let's look at the stats. Oops. So you're saying that Zombie goes under when he's the guy finishing. So win first round. Yeah. So I love the over because Max gets finished by nobody. Max gets dropped by nobody. Max is the most durable guy, one of the 5 most durable guys in the entire UFC. We just saw 2 of them in the cage against each other, in Marlon Vera and Pedro Munoz. You got who am I thinking? Marvin Vittori's got a brick for a head. I'm forgetting the other ones that I usually say when I talk about durable guys, but yeah, that's a great look because he is those fights that are scheduled for 5 rounds, all of them, the ones that are going under are the ones where Zombie's winning. So if you take a look back at the prop template here at the 5-round template, and you see that 17 of 21 have went over, but 4 of those fights went under, right? 3 of them were Zombie finishes, right? And like I said, Holloway, unless maybe somebody like a sniper takes him out from the crowd with a bullet to the head, I really don't think Max is getting dropped or knocked out here. So yeah, that over 2.5 is a really fantastic parlay piece now that you bring up that extra piece of information there, because that's very, very valuable stuff. That's taking it past just the data, but then looking at the data and figuring out what fights finished, what fights didn't, and then you get a much better idea of which way this should go. Kid Kick in the room saying, Uncle Weezy, I play UFC Rainmakers on DraftKings. I need 5 fighters that will finish inside the distance. Help your boy out. There's no salary cap, and there's a 1.5 captain spot. All right. You need 5 finishers. I mean, Rinya Nakamura gets a finish. Well, Fernie Garcia's never been finished, so that's not something that I would bet. Plus, I mean, well, with Rainmakers, you're going to want Rinya because he's going to be able to wrestle here. Junior Tafa, if he wins, he knocks out Parker Porter for sure. I think if Oleg Sachek wins, I think he gets a finish. I think JJ Aldrich actually gets a finish against Liang Na. Whoever wins the Smitty Span fight gets a finish. And I think Max Holloway gets a finish. Yeah, dude. Put Holloway in your captain spot. And then go Nakamura. Go Junior Tafa. Go Oleg Sachek. Go JJ Aldrich. And then you can throw whoever you want in there, Smitty or Span, whoever you think wins that fight. And we got Sneerius saying, "Oh, what's up, dude?" We got Victor Jesus in the room. He is saying, I now have a max bet on Uncle Weezy to finish that glass of water at minus 825. I'm cashing it for you, dude. I mean, I got a little bit of cotton mouth too. My girlfriend, she came down with COVID. She tested positive for it like 3 days ago. And now, I mean, I'm definitely getting sick. I know I'm definitely getting sick. So I can feel it coming on. I can feel like the throat starting to get a little bit sore. So I need my water. Oh man, I need more than that. Yeah, I think your Uncle Weezy's going to be sick this weekend. We got Mr. 25 in the room saying, Unc, who would have been your runner-up for ass shaving the week? The guy that I was looking at second was Junior Tafa, because Parker Porter has been finished in every single one of his losses, and there's a lot of Parker Porter losses. If we go to the advanced matchups here, you can see Parker Porter in his losses here. 1 by submission and 2 by knockout in the UFC, and he's 4-3. So he's been finishing all 3 of his UFC losses. He's got 8 career losses, and he has 3 submission losses, 4 knockout losses, and 1 disqualification loss. So he's been finishing all of his losses. So look at this. Parker Porter is 6-5 to the knockout, and Junior Tafa is 4-0 to the knockout. So because Porter can wrestle and win minutes, like Porter is undefeated in the UFC when he gets a takedown. So he might be able to get Junior down and do some work on the ground, but I don't think he's finishing him down there. And if he doesn't, he's going to need to get multiple takedowns. And we've only seen Parker Porter get more than 1 takedown in a UFC fight, I think once. But let's look at the number, because, of course, when you have Uncle Weezy's stats in front of you, you have all the stats. So Parker Porter. Oh, he's done it twice. He's gotten 2 takedowns twice. He got 2 against Josh Parisian, and he got 2 against Alan Badeau. A couple people with ass takedown defense. 394 seconds of control time, 267, 139. And by the way, I think these are his 3 losses. This one here. This one here. And this one here. And then if you look at this column right here, the control time, you see that every fight where he didn't get at least 1 second of control time, he's 0-3. So Parker Porter is very dependent on getting takedowns and control time, because when he's on the feet, he's chinny and he's not powerful. So in this division where you're going up against guys that have 1-punch knockout power, Parker is very dependent on getting fights to the ground. So we're going to see if he's able to take down Junior Tafa, who's stuffed 10 of 12 takedown attempts from Mohammed Usman, who's got really good conditioning, and who's a big dude. So we'll see how it all goes. But I think that Junior Tafa was definitely the guy that I had second in line to shave ass this week. But I was just worried that Parker got the takedowns. With Bresky, I don't see a path for him. That's why I think Waldo easily wins that fight, because Bresky counts on out voluming his opponents, but he gets tired early in fights. And Acosta is known for his A, durability, and B, his conditioning. So I think that he's going to be able to match that pace from Bresky early. But when Bresky starts to slow down, Waldo isn't going to slow down. And Bresky just doesn't show the wrestling type of chops that he's going to need in order to win enough minutes on the ground to really have a path here. So that's why I went with Waldo Cortez Acosta over Junior Tafa for the ass shaving of the week this week. We got my guy, Go Flamingo, in the room. What is happening? He's saying, morning, Weezy. Most of the props usually drop today on my books. Still no props on the main event even. You think the bookies are worried about this card? Never seen this before. Well, I've got some props like on DraftKings. They've got the main card props and some same game parlays out for Blanchfield Santos, Nakamura Garcia, Chikadze Caceres, Smitty Span, and Holloway Jung, but still nothing on the other fights except for totals. So I usually start to see these props drop tomorrow morning for me. So like you're ahead of me, I think, because you're in Australia. So yeah, maybe I don't think the bookies are worried about this card, and I don't think that they're stalling. I don't think that, but I could be wrong, man. I don't know. We got Sean V in the room saying Weezy 2024. What's up, Sean? I got a CashApp max bet for my guy Victor De Jesus. I will not be responsible for one of my viewers losing a max bet. And Sean is saying Aaron Blanchfield, one of my most confident picks. Don't be a donkey and don't go Santos here, fellas. Yeah, because believe me, if Blanchfield wins, Sean V will go back and tell you I told you so. He does it to me all the time. So yeah, if Blanchfield wins, Sean V is going to be running his mouth telling you I told you so. And so if you are on the Santos side, you have to worry about that this week. I'm picking Santos, but I can't get there from a money line perspective right now. And the narrative issues are worrying me that I heard about last night with her being sued by a former coach, training with her boyfriend. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So, but I'm not laying the juice on Blanchfield either at minus 148. So it's going to be a stay away fight for me. It's going to be a very, very high level fight. Riddle me this, Uncle Weez Dog. How is Sergey Spivak such a big underdog? He is also with Eric Nixick for his last 3 to 4 fights. Would you consider parlaying him with current fights like I've done? Well, I've got 2 units on him at plus 165 already. I don't know. I forget whether I got him at plus 160 or 165. Did I not track that bet? Shit, I didn't even track. Oh, you know what? I didn't track the bet because they didn't even have the event up yet. So yeah, I've got 2 units. I'll have to check and see what I got it, whether it was 160 or 165. But I did bet it on DraftKings. Yeah, Gon never fought anybody that could wrestle up until the Ngannou fight, and then after that, it was the John Jones fight. Every other fight, nobody's trying takedowns, or they're just terrible fighters who have no wrestling. So very interesting that Sergey Spivak is plus 150 to a guy that couldn't wrestle his way out of a paper bag, that his own coach, Cyril Gahn, said that this guy doesn't train unless he has a fight and that he's lazy. And yeah, I mean, like, he's a great, great elite level striker. Sergey's not going to stand in front of him. I mean, there's nowhere for him to run. It's that cage is only 35 feet long. You know, there's nowhere to run. Sergey's going to get his arms around him. He's going to throw him to the ground. He's going to ragdoll him, and he's going to drown him. So, yeah, I mean, I don't parlay plus money numbers unless it's like in the greasy 4-legger. But I've got a big straight bet on it, and I'm thinking about adding on because I love this stylistic matchup for Sergey Spivak. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. And Sean is saying, yeah, the Span fight is going to finish and probably early. Yeah, dude, on my prop template, if you look at Smith Span, for under 1.5 rounds for Anthony Smith, it's only 4 of 12 fights, but look at Span. 7 of 9 fights going under 1.5 rounds. And it's 7 of 5 fights that have not went to decision as well. So if his fights get out of the first round, 6 of 9 fights have finished in the first round for Span. And out of those 3 fights that didn't, only one of them finished in the last 2 rounds. And it finished in the first 2.5 minutes of round 2. So Span is very much a killer be killed fighter and a very front loaded fighter. And he's the kind of guy where if the fight starts going against him, it's probably going to be over quickly. So yeah, I mean the fight doesn't start round 2 at minus 120. It's a shit price, to be honest with you, but maybe we can find it closer to plus money later on in the week. I don't know, but I think it's absolutely worth a bet. These guys are definitely finishers of the highest order. 31 of 32 fights outside the UFC scheduled for 3 rounds for Anthony Smith finished inside the distance. 31 of 32. And for Span, it was 13 of 15 before he got here. So, yeah, these guys are finishers. Paku saying, hey, Weezy, Bedoya, Tafa, Rinya at plus 145 with an implied probability of 40.8%. I like it. I think Rinya definitely wins, except for what could be the thing I worry about with Rinya, and it's like the kind of worry that you have on any fighter that's minus 800 is like, what could go wrong? You're asking yourself, right? And what could go wrong is that he maybe falls in love with his hands a little bit too much, and he gets caught with a counter by Fernie Garcia, kind of like Brady Heastand did in the first round of their fight. But here's the thing, right? I max bet Brady Heastand against Fernie Garcia, right? And that was at like minus 120 something. I think I got him at maybe minus 140. I'd have to look it up on my Bet MMA tips, but it's not important right now. What's important is that Rinya Nakamura is a much, much, much better wrestler than Brady Heastand. So, you know, if I thought Heastand was a sure thing against Garcia, imagine what Nakamura is. But what I worry about with Nakamura is that he is an elite level wrestler, and that I just don't want him falling in love with his hands. Not against Fernie Garcia. Don't stand in front of this dude. Don't box him, because that would be stupid. This guy does not have great takedown defense or a great get up game or a great gas tank. And he's fighting 12 hours from home. And he got kind of like smothered by Brady Heastand in their fight. So yeah, this is a much higher level fighter than Brady Heastand here. So I really like Rinya. I really like Tafa in this spot. But I would be, I know it probably wouldn't be plus money, but for me, what I would do is, because I got the ass shaving of the week, like I could throw Bedoya in there. I could throw Waldo Cortez Acosta in there, and then throw Rinya at minus 800. Yeah, it's plus 105. I like that better because I don't see as much of a path for Lucas Bresky as I do for Porter with the wrestling. But obviously you're getting better odds because Tafa's minus 142 and Waldo Cortez Acosta is minus 250. So I just feel that this is safer. And yeah, but Doya bothers me a little bit too at minus 325. I don't think that guy should be minus 325 here against Song Kanan, but I really do like the matchup for him. Let me cash this max bet for my guy Victor De Jesus. All right. So I like it. I do like it, but I think that I could do just a little bit better. But it's not better price wise, right? You're going to make more money if this one hits than if mine hits. We got the real Dark Knight is in the room saying, "Oh hell no, what's happening, man? Good to see you in here." We got Gogo Flamingo saying, "At Sean V, I'm with you, bro." Santos's head coach is split recently too. Yes, and ring a ding ding, you guys. My guy Kid Kick with the $1.99 donation, keeping on the lights here. I'm gonna go celebrate that with a little glass of water here because I am really getting stuffed up. Like I'm getting sick literally on the air here. So I'll be right back, you guys, to answer the rest of your questions. All right, I'm back, you guys. Sorry about that. All right. Appreciate you, Kid Cake, for the donation. Let's keep those lights on here in your Uncle Weezy studio. Junior Tafa has fought nobody, though. Yeah, that's true. But if you watch, well, he's fought a lot of good kickboxers because he did have a professional kickboxing background before coming to the UFC. When you watch those regional scene fights, those dudes look like decent fighters. They're all right. They're tough. Like I saw him landing some clean shots on some of these Samoan dudes that he was fighting, and those guys got bricks for heads, man. They're very durable. So those guys brought good fights to Junior Tafa, but compared to Parker Porter, they have not fought the same level of competition. Parker Porter fucking fought John Jones, for Christ's sake. So yeah, man. Tafa has not fought the better level of competition compared to Porter. Go, let's go, says Sean. The entire universe thinks Tafa just walks in and knocks out Porter. That has to be a bit of a red flag. Well, I mean, Porter's been finishing 100% of his losses. He has to go all the way to Singapore for this fight. And he just got finished by somebody in the first round in his last fight who coincidentally has the last name of Tafa. And it was just sweet. You saw Porter coming in with big shots and Tafa with a quick left that was right up the middle, just beat Porter to the punch and absolutely dropped him. So, I mean, people do think, I see why people think that. And Porter's not a good wrestler, Sean. That's the thing, right? We've seen him never get more than 2 takedowns in a fight. And look at this. 23.8%. So he tries 2.61 more takedowns than what the average fighter does in the heavyweight division. He's attempting 5.5, but he's only getting 1.31 of them. So even though he's attempting way more, he still gets just barely above the average. And even though he attempts 7 takedowns for every 1 that his opponents do, he's still only winning 70% of the control time positions. So Parker Porter's got to get more efficient with that wrestling attack. He needs to get more than 1 takedown in a fight in order to win it consistently. And even against a guy like Tafa, I mean, like he had Muhammad Usman on the skates in the 3rd round. He carries his power late in fights. So I see why people think that Tafa's going to knock him out. I think Tafa wins by knockout here. But like I say, Porter has a path. I don't see as much of a path for Lucas Bresky against Waldo Cortez Acosta. And Porter set the UFC heavyweight record for significant strikes in a 3-round fight, Weezy. Yes, he did. That is special against a special fighter in Alan Badeau. And he's done it twice, really. I mean, where he got a ton of significant strikes. 126 against that bum Josh Parisian and 149 against that punching bag Chase Sherman. And let's see, did he get 1 of 8 takedowns against Chase? Chase got decent takedown defense. 2 of 4 he got against, but 2 of 8 he got against Badeau, and he got 2 of 4 against and the thing is that Chase Sherman doesn't have power like Junior Tafa has power, so yeah, he can stand in there and actually win minutes at range against a guy like Chase Sherman while he's mixing in the takedown attempts, because Chase isn't knocking dudes out at this level. There's a much bigger power difference in between guys like somebody like Dawkins is just sleeping this guy. Jailton Almeida, of course, Justin Tafa did as well. But these guys, Badeau, Sherman, and Parisian, are not power punchers. And the guys that are power punchers are starching this dude in the first round. Chris Dawkins and Justin Tafa. And then Braxton Smith is just an inexperienced 5-1 mixed martial artist that probably shouldn't have been there in the first place. And he gave up. He actually shot the takedown against Parker. He was so gassed after 60 seconds, he shot in on a takedown, and that's when Porter just kind of like put him on his back and finished him. It's not all about takedowns. Yeah, it is. It is all about takedowns in this fight, because Junior Tafa, if he touches him, he's going to die. It wasn't about takedowns against guys like Parisian, against guys like Sherman, against guys like Badeau, who don't even have knockdowns, much less knockouts at this level. So Yeah, it is about power in this time, and it is about takedowns, because the only way he's going to be able to avoid those takedowns or I mean, the only way he's going to be able to avoid the power is by getting those takedowns. This guy does not have great striking defense, and he's been dropped too many times. Parker Porter getting dropped on 1% of the distance strikes that he's absorbing. So he's been dropped 3 times in 7 fights. Gogo Flamingo saying, I might put a small bet parlay that includes Porter Tafa, but don't go heavy on this one, boys. Porter Tafa. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could do like a violence bet. You could do either side, wherever side you're on there. But yeah, I'm not going heavy. I haven't touched that fight yet, and I don't think that my money's going to get anywhere near it. Gogo saying I can't use DraftKings, only money lines on my book. Very weird. Oh, really? Okay. Gotcha. That sucks, dude. DraftKings, yeah, is only available in certain places. Kristen saying, hi, Weezy in chat. Pleasure burning the midnight oil with you all. Appreciate you for hanging out, Kristen. Let me know if you've got any questions. Fernie has never been finished. Yes, sir. Daz File saying Tafa is tougher. Yeah, I think he is. He'll be more durable. He'll be the more powerful guy. But Parker Porter's got the more complete MMA skill set. EQ saying Clay Collard just won. Cool. So that main event is over. Maybe we'll get some more people popping in here now that we're not going up against PFL. Yo, Weezy, you the man. What's up, dude? Thank you for hanging out, Bob. Let me know if you got any questions for me today. He's saying he's here listening. We got J Jack 77 in the room saying, Weezy, what's up? I feel like Choi is a lock this week. So no locks in MMA ever, right? And Aaron's is pretty good. He's bad nowhere, right? The worst thing about Aaron's game is that when you take him down, he seems to be kind of happy playing off his back. He doesn't show urgency trying to get up back up to his feet where he can use that kickboxing, that Dutch Muay Thai kickboxing that he has. He's also a brown belt in judo. So the guy's pretty good in the clinch. And Sung Woo Choi has not made the best in fight decisions. You know, the guy is a little bit chinny. That's a problem, right? Because Jarno has shown some power from time to time. Choi, 1.42% of the significant strikes that have been landed against him have knocked him down. So, yeah, he's been knocked down 4 times in 8 fights. That's very, very chinny. So you worry about Jarno potentially landing a big shot. You worry about Jarno maybe getting some control time on the ground. And you worry about Sung Woo Choi maybe just making bad decisions. This is a problem, you guys. Look at this big red here, 29% accuracy. 53% defense. He's a guy that's really kind of relying on this power. He's got 4 knockdowns, but he's absorbed 4 knockdowns. So Choi is a guy who's not really winning minutes with his striking because he's not accurate. But what he's doing is winning moments when he lands big shots. I like Choi to win the fight. I'm picking him to win by decision, but I just don't feel like he's a lock. But if he wrestles here, and he has gotten 5 takedowns on 10 attempts in 8 fights, so it's not like this guy doesn't wrestle at all. And Aaron's, got taken down in every round by William Gomez, and he gave up more than 2 minutes of control time in every single round of that fight. So there is a path if Sung Woo Choi shows a more well-rounded skill set in the cage on Saturday. I do like him to win this fight. I'm picking him to win by decision. I just don't see Jarno being spectacular anywhere, but you always have to worry about Sung Woo Choi kind of like getting his chin up, being in a firefight and getting caught. So, Victor's asking me, what spots are you liking on Prize Picks this week? So, I'm really not sure. I've been working more on the template than I have been looking at what's happening here. So let's look at Max Blessed Holloway at 120.5 fantasy score. So let me clone this page. Fantasy score for Prize Picks was 120.5. And we can go to my calculator with the Prize Picks analytics. This is going to be 145-pound fight. Fantasy points, Prize Picks, 5 rounds. How many times do fighters score over 120.5 points? So 53% of the winners are doing that. 0% of the losers. So 26% chance. But with so let me do this. Take that. This is going to be Prize Picks fantasy score. Put that in there. So why does that not work? Oh yeah, we need the money lines. So the money lines are minus 800, right? And plus 550. So 88.9% is 89% is the win probability. And that's why it's not working. Sorry, guys. I'm still building this thing, so it's not working perfectly yet. But let me just do this here real quick again. We'll see. Post that special. There we go. So when I'm computing the expected value, it shows about a 47% chance. So what that is taking is it's taking this win percentage for Max Holloway at a minus 800 line, which is 89%. And it's multiplying it by how many times the winner wins the fight, which is about 53%. So that 88.89% times 52.94% is 47.06%. So if he loses the fight, which is about an 11% chance, there's a 0% chance he scores that many points. But if he wins it, there's about a 47% chance that he gets over that many points. So that's what this thing is going to figure out. It's going to do that for fantasy score. And then we're also going to be cutting and pasting each fighter's stats into these templates down here. And then the count functions in this spreadsheet will tell us how many times in a 5-round fight Max Holloway has scored more than 120.5 fantasy points, and how many times in a 5-round fight the Korean Zombie has allowed more than 120.5. So we'll have that number here for Max Holloway over. We'll have that number here for Korean Zombie allowing that many points, and we'll add those two up. So we'll have that analytic, we'll have this analytic, and then we'll also know the benchmark in terms of what the average score is for a fight that's scheduled for however many minutes is scheduled to go. So we also have that information here in the analytics. Like we will know for DFS scoring on average in Prize Picks, the points per fight, but this is for 3-round fights anyway. But yeah, 66 points, somewhere around there for most of these guys. For the winner, it's this many. It's 96 for the lower weight classes. And then featherweight's 103, and then men's flyweight 101, 102, 102, 100. And you can see what the losers score. And we're going to be just looking at all the analytics. So yeah, Max Holloway, 120.5 points. I think that's actually a decent look this week. If you're on that, my guy Sean V, if you think Aaron Blanchfield is winning this fight at a 74.5 fantasy score, like we can look how many times in a 125-pound weight class for 3-round fights have they scored that amount of points, which for Aaron is 74.5. So fantasy points, Prize Picks, 3 rounds, 74.5. So the winner gets that number 74.5% of the time. The loser gets that number 4.79% of the time on average in 376 participants and 188 fights. they went over that number 39% of the time, but the winner goes over it almost 75% of the time. So, for instance, if you think Erin Blanchfield is winning this fight, then she probably is scoring more than that many fantasy points. Aldrich at 96.5 fantasy points. I think, if she wins this fight, I don't think it's going to be by decision. I think she'll probably get a second or a third round finish. And when fights finish, I mean, they're going over 100 points almost all the time. Bedoya is a very high volume striker, so I could see him going over 104 points. It's weird. There's no takedown props this week on Prize Picks, which is odd. I don't know why that is. Let's look at the fight time here. I kind of like Rinya Nakamura over 5 minutes simply because Fernie Garcia has never been finished. I think that that's actually a pretty good play this week. JJ Aldrich, 10 minutes fight time. I like that to go under. What's Armfield's fantasy score? 88.5. I think I like Kazama to win the fight, but I mean, Armfield could knock him out. So, Mihailo Oleksiejczuk, 76.5 points of fantasy score. I think I like him to do better than that. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at it too much. But like if I were to do a two-leg play, Aldrich under 10 minutes, Nakamura over 5 minutes. And I think that's how I would do it. And then if there's any significant strike props, Oleksiejczuk over 35.5 significant strikes. That looks like a decent number. Let's look at the middleweight division. Oh, that's the wrong sheet. Middleweight division. How many significant strikes were we looking at? 35.5. So out of 1,046 fighters that have fought in the middleweight division since 2013, 42% of them have went over that number, 53% of the winners, 31% of the losers. And if we look at Oleksiejczuk's numbers, how many times has he landed less than 35? Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times out of 11 fights, he's landed less than that many strikes because he's a good finisher. And how many times has Chidi Njokuani allowed more than 36 significant strikes? 45, 48, and then 5 and 2. So, but he's allowing more than that in the fights that he loses. But he's finishing guys like Todorovic and Barrio. But I think Oleksiejczuk is very durable. I think it goes over, but I don't love that so much either. Take that 2-legger. Over 5 minutes for Nakamura, under 10 minutes for JJ Aldrich. Parker is Porker. Yeah, he is a fat man. That is for sure. EQ with the some meat on the bone, I think, is what I'm looking at there. I can't quite tell, but if you're looking for meat on the bone, that's what we want, man. We got Dan Ali in the room. What is happening, Dan? Saying, I don't want to see that fight. Why are they going to do that to the zombie? It's his last fight before retirement. I was listening to Santino and Brandon today, and Santino used to train the Korean zombie. He said he always wanted to fight Max Holloway. That was always a fight that he wanted. He thinks it's going to be a great fight. They're going to meet in the middle. He thinks the fans are going to love it, and it's happening in the in Asia. So he got everything he wanted. This is the fight that he's always wanted to have. So he took it. I mean, I don't think he's going to win, but this is the fight that he wants to go out on. All right, we got Hui in the room saying Tafa did wobble Usman's brother. Porter gets KO'd easier, I believe. Tafa has mentioned he's been training takedown defense most of the time. Yeah, he needs to. especially in this fight for sure. So yeah, man, I do believe that Tafa's got a good chance here. I mean, I'm picking him to win the fight, but I wouldn't be surprised if Parker Porter got some takedowns, And once that dude gets on top of you with that gigantic ass, it's really hard to get him off. Eli saying, what do you think the judges of judging fuckery this weekend, favoring the home guys? Oh, I always think that there's chances for that. Whenever you're having these rare cards in that part of the world, it's good for business when the hometown fighters win. So yeah, this is a corporation now. They have stockholders, they have a board of directors, and they're going to do what's best for them, not for the sport. They're using the sport to make money. So yeah, I think there's always chances of referee fuckery, judging fuckery, just anything. I'm open-minded to the possibility. Gogo Flamingo saying, I'm on a lot of hometown guys, so hopefully fuckery is in full force. Let's get it then if you're on those hometown guys. And I'm leaning towards a lot of the hometown guys as well. I can't trust Choi at chalk anymore. Yeah, I hear you, dude. Kevin saying, sorry I'm late, Unc, but that Collard versus Burgos was a banger. I'm glad it was a good fight, man. Burgos always is in great fights, and as far as I know, Clay Collard is as well, with a very all-action style. So that was probably a really good one, man. Bob Spikerman saying, Weezy, you agree, man, and Fierro going to shave ass next week? Yeah, I like her to win. I don't know where Rose's head is at. That's always a big question. She's been away for a long time, you guys, and she's moving up a weight class to fight a really, really, really good striker with a really well-rounded game. So Manon, I don't know if she's younger than Rose. Actually, because I'm always open and ahead with my stats, let's find out. So it's the 26th, so it's going to be the 9-2 card. 9-2 advanced. Let's open it up. God, you guys, I'm definitely getting sick. Your Uncle Weezy's got COVID. Start a GoFundMe. Let's start at like $250,000 and just go up from there and see if we can keep me from dying. I mean, if you care about your Uncle Weezy, now is the time to show your financial love. Start the GoFundMe, get me $250,000, and I promise once I get to that $250,000 mark, I will beat this thing. All right? So that I'll beat it. I'll do the hard part. You pricks, you raise me $250,000. How does that sound, man? So yeah, and here I am getting you these Afiro Namajunas stats. And let's zoom in. Yeah, so it is Rose who's younger, because Manon is 33 years old, and she is on a 9-month layoff as well. But it's a year and 3 months for Rose. So, 6 months longer than Manon, who's been on a long layoff. So very interesting stuff. You look at those striking metrics for Manon. I mean, against a much lower level of competition overall, still a better ratio actually at 1.75 than Rose Namajunas, which is interesting. But either way, Manon is very, very good at what she does. She only gets controlled 2% of her UFC cage time, and you really can't beat that, man. So this is probably a very good spot for Manon. I know that she's around -200 right now on the number, but I'm not picking against her. But Rose Namajunas is a champion. She's been in there with a lot of good girls. I just don't know what's up with the bump in weight class. I don't know. Manon 2 inches taller, so she's gonna be bigger. Manon's strong. Rose is definitely a little more delicate. So we're gonna have to see how this one works out. But I'm picking Manon to win because her ability to be able to manage distance in her striking exchanges is absolutely phenomenal. And we got my guy Clint in the room. What's up, Clint? Saying, "Oi, what up, Weezy? Shave that ass this week, my man." Dude, I gotta start shaving ass like Clint's been shaving ass. How many? He had like 73 units on Sean O'Malley at like +215. He's absolutely blowing the cover off the ball this year. Absolutely tearing it up. The poor poor bookies that are taking Clint's bets are getting their asses shaved and running into a dick saw at the same time. So always good to have you here, brother. Let me know if I can answer any questions for you today. We got Kevin saying, can you name some likely parlay busters, please? Okay. Let's look at some props. I like the fight doesn't go to decision for Kazama Armfield. I think that's a good parlay piece. The Enja Kawani Oleksejczyk thing kind of, these guys do finish inside the distance a lot, around 73%. Yeah, but Oleksejczyk's pretty durable. Chidi is not. I don't know. The Chidi Oleksejczyk fight, I got a funny feeling it's going to go the distance and that would be a parlay buster for the fight doesn't go to decision. And then if we're just looking at money lines, wow, is that slow? Wow, is that slow? Well, once we get this $250,000 put together for your Uncle Weezy to beat the COVID, we can pay for better internet here because I don't know why this is taking so long. This is ridiculous. I can't believe it. I don't think Holloway busts a parlay this week. I don't think Waldo Cortez Acosta busts a parlay. I don't even think that Rinya Nakamura does. But if Nakamura busts a parlay, I think it'll be a first round knockout for Fernie Garcia, which could be had right now at plus 3,000 on the sports book that won't load for me. What is happening? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. You got to be kidding me. All right, well, maybe that'll come up at some point, but either way, parlay busters. Wait, can I get some? Oh yeah, here, we'll look here. I don't know how Caceres beats Chikadze. I don't know how that happens, but he could find the back. That's what I worry about. I wouldn't parlay Garrett Armfield this week, but that he's only minus 160. And remember, this is only Rolando Bedoya's second UFC fight. He's fighting 12 hours from home. He's kind of like a long way from home here. So, let's try to like mute the expectation just a little bit. Minus 310 is a little bit wide. And then, yeah, Aldrich could bust a parlay if Naliang gets a first round finish, but you can get Naliang first round right now at about plus 1,000. So that's always a good hedge out of it as well. We got Kevin saying, please, yes, sir, I just got you. Jay Jack saying, I hear you, Unc. I feel like his strength of schedule helps him out here as well. Strength of schedule is a very important metric to look at always because it gives you an idea whether there's a step up happening or not. And especially at the UFC level, when you climb those ladder rungs, things get a lot tougher. And if you're one of these guys that's kind of like going out there and finishing dudes right away, sometimes it's not easy to go out and do that at the UFC level as it was on the regional scene. So, yeah, man, strength of schedule absolutely is a great metric to look at in any fight that you're planning on gambling on. The only lock on the card is Bedoya. When the shootbox fighter dye their hairs all blonde, you know damn well they come to fight and win it all. I love shootbox. I love all their fighters. The way that they come forward, they all pressure. They've all got great chins, and they all are just like really exciting fighters to watch. So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing Bedoya, the machine, in there again, man. Great debut performance against Chaos Williams. And let's hope that he handles that trip to Singapore well and doesn't come out flat on Saturday against Song Kanan, who will be in his neck of the woods there. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. Yeah, and I can't wait either, EQ. I think that's such a banger. Mihail is a pressure fighter. He comes forward. I'm picking him to win this fight for sure. I like him here because I don't think Chidi does great if you don't give him space. You really need to give him space in order for him to get those kicks off, which are the best part of what he does. But he's got a ton of power. So Mihail needs to be careful not to walk onto something. But I think if he doesn't, as the fight goes on, I think we're going to see Mihail really start to put a pace on Chidi that he can't handle. And if it includes that pressure that I think it will, I think he gets him out of there like late in the second round. Wayne Spurlock is in the room saying the fight between Goff and Kinoshita is interesting. Kinoshita by KO or Goff by ground and pound is what I'm thinking. Does Kanan really have a chance? Is he good enough wrestler to win a decision? No, he's not. He's not. Check it out. Song Kanan. In his UFC fights, there are 7 of them. He's only attempted 3 takedowns, and he got 2 of them, and he's controlled his opponents for less than 3% of the UFC cage time that he's been in there. And yeah, and as far as the Kinoshita by KO or Goff by ground and pound, yeah, I mean, I think that Goff gets hit entirely too much. He's way too easy to hit, way too defensively irresponsible to handle somebody like Kinoshita who hits as hard as he does. We do see Goff kind of like coming from behind quite a bit. And it's because he's durable, and it's because he's got fire in his belly. He's one of those, he's got that dog in him, as my man Dan from Best Fight Picks would say. He's got that dog in him. He's not going to quit on himself. And if you give him a second to breathe and kind of get back into the fight, find his way back into the fight, he usually does it, and he usually finishes you. And when he drops you and gets on top, that's really when he does great work. So he's got great ground and pound, but I also see Kinoshita landing big shots because Goff is defensively irresponsible on the feet. And Na doesn't have a chance, right? She's got a chance early in the fight. Very, very early in the fight, she's got a chance. That's what she does. If you look at her numbers, she's won 19 of her 25 fights. She's 19-6, and she's got 10 submissions and 9 knockouts. So she really does bring a fire early in fights. Her average fight time is 3.85 minutes over a 25 fight sample size. So she does have a chance, but it's not a big chance. And the odds are right about probably where they should be for any fighter that we know doesn't have more than 1 round of gas. Kazama Wrestling is good enough to get the sub, you think? I've got a 1 unit on Kazama at plus 142. I think his wrestling is solid, but he's got good judo, Wayne. And that's the thing, that once you get into the clinch, you don't necessarily need single legs, double legs, blast doubles, ankle picks. You don't need that kind of shit. When you're in the clinch, you can use trips, sweeps, reaps, and throws. And when you're using those kind of tools, there's several different ways to get takedowns with outside trips, inside trips, foot sweeps, and then you can use whizzer kicks. You can use head wheels. You can get over under and go for like a Polish throw, or get those inside trips from the over under side, where if you know which side to trip to, it works very well. There's a lot of things that Kazama can do to get this fight to the ground. And Garrett Armfield, he gets, when fights get taken to the ground, he doesn't show the best get up game, and he doesn't show the best takedown defense, to be brutally honest. So, but what Armfield does have is a ton of power. So I think that no matter who wins this fight, I think it's going to be inside the distance. I think Kazama is either going to get a submission, or I think that Armfield's going to knock him out. And the crowd is going to be wild in Singapore. Yeah, dude, they don't get to see these fights too often, so they're going to show up. They're going to be ready to go, man. Don't Tap Podcast in the room. What's happening, dude? Saying let's go. Thanks for the content, Weezy. Appreciate you, brother. Let me know if you have any questions. We got Wayne Spurlock in the room saying Tafa KO. I think Porter ain't wrestling nobody. He doesn't have great wrestling. It's just not great. Less than 25% takedown accuracy. Never more than 2 takedowns in any UFC fight. It's hard to picture him getting enough takedowns and control time to avoid the big shot from Tafa on the feet. Spurlock saying, what the fuck is up with Santos? All that shady shit makes me nervous. Yeah, dude, if none of that was happening, I would have liked the plus money on that. But I think that we know more about Santos at this point than we do about Blanchfield, and I feel just a little bit more comfortable taking her at plus money. But with all that behind the scenes shit, you just don't know how she's going to perform. She could come out and perform like divorced Dern, or she could come out and perform like total trash. We're going to have to wait and see. Jake Fagan is in the room saying, hey, Weezy, should I put my life savings on a Rinya Max parlay? So let's see what the return on those two minus 800 lines is. I mean, the answer is no. Of course, you shouldn't put your life savings on it because, you know, minus 385, dude. Wow. So it's like you put down like $40,000, you're only going to get $10,000 back. It's not worth losing the 40. Yeah, it's a great one-day return, something that you usually don't see in the stock market or even in the options market, but yeah, they probably both win, but I'd be worried about Fernie catching Nakamura with a little counter and Nakamura falling in love with his hands. That's why I would not. Well, I mean, I wouldn't put my life savings on any parlay. So yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. They have fantastic counselors there, Jake. They will help you through your problems. They will talk to your wife and have her change the passwords on your bank account so that you can't put your life savings into your gambling accounts. You know, they're going to help you out, brother. They'll put you in a nice little padded room with the suit. You'll feel warm. Your arms will be here, and you'll be like, ooh, I feel like I'm hugging myself. Call the folks at 1-800-GAMBLER. They got some great orderlies over there who will set you straight, my friend. Don't Tap Podcast saying cross parlay of the week: Collard plus 3.5 and Blanchfield plus 142. Yeah, well, there you go. I don't know if the Collard hit because I didn't watch the fight, but I'm guessing that it did because you're here after the fight ended, and now you just need Blanchfield to close that out for you. Wayne Spurlock saying Spann and Smith both suck. Yeah, they're not great minute winners, either one of them, really. They're great moment winners. They're finishers. So it's going to be an interesting fight, but I don't think when you got two big finishers like that, it's kind of hard to predict who wins. So I think my money is going to be staying away from it. DK is so late on these takedown props. Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's just they take time, dude. They put out the main props, then they'll put out like half of the undercard, and then you got to wait for the other half of the undercard for a while. It seems like they don't want to be first to market ever. Is Chidi a quitter? I think he is. Well, he's been finished in almost all of his losses. And that's, when people ask me, is somebody a quitter? They're not a quitter. They're a professional fighter. They get into a cage and fight grown killers for a living. So nobody that gets into that cage is really a quitter in life. But this is the kind of sport where when somebody hits you and your orbital bone gets broken, or like that poor kid on the Contender Series last night who got kneed in the stomach when he was on the ground. I mean, you couldn't have you would have been able to forgive that kid if he had just blown 3 pounds of shit out of his ass right after that happened, right? I mean, come on. Who could take a knee to the stomach like that and not just want to die immediately? So quitter in an MMA sense, is different than like the quitters that we saw on the playground when we were growing up. Those bitch asses, who would like take their ball and go home. Not that kind of quitter. But 7 of 9 professional losses for Chidi Njokuani are finishes. So he does get finished in his losses quite a bit, as does Oleg Sejcek, as he's been finished in 5 of 6 professional losses, but he's only been knocked out once, and it was pre-UFC. So I don't know if it was a ground and pound or if it was an actual stand-up knockout. Either way, Chidi does get finished a lot when he loses. And you look at a guy like Mihail, 83% of those UFC wins come by way of knockout. So, Mihail Oleksiejczuk will gently escort you to find that door if you're looking for a way out. He will do it and then not so gently kick your ass through that door. So, I think we could see Chidi get finished for sure. How many times has Chidi quit in there? 7 out of 9 losses. He's been finished. Don't know if he quit, though. Chidi, bang, bang, says Jay Jack. We got Wayne saying, congrats, zombie. You're going to get your ass kicked by one of the best fighters in history in front of your people. Dreams do come true. It's the fight he wanted. And what if he's the first person to knock out or knock down Max Holloway in his retirement fight? How awesome would it be to go out that way? All right. We got Don't Tap Podcast saying I had Munoz plus 3.5. Speaking, oh boy. Yeah, I thought he covered that. But that's why I don't bet those spread props, because The only way they come into play is when these fucking judges have the fight in their hands. So you know, it's just like it's just inviting fuckery. It's inviting it. So yeah, it happens, man. Wayne saying whole lot of judge fuckery coming up. Get the cops ready for all these robberies. Ring a ding ding, you guys. Victor de Jesus, $10 donation saying, Weezy, would you be so kind to bless us with your favorite Bootsy moment story time? Oh, it's a good question, man. What's my favorite Bootsy? Oh, great fucking story. All right. So one morning, our doorbell rings, right? And I'm still in bed. It's like 9 a.m., right? And my girlfriend goes and gets the door, and I hear her say, "Oh my God." And she's like, "Where did you find him?" And you know, I hear a conversation at the door, but I'm only hearing my girlfriend's side of it. And so I kind of like get up out of, and then Bootsy kind of like comes running into the bedroom, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, what's happening?" And so I get up, I get out of bed, and I'm like, "What was that?" And she goes, Bootsy was outside." I'm like, "Outside? What do you mean? You know, how could he get outside?" She goes, "Well, I took out the garbage this morning and he must have snuck out behind me. And then I didn't see him outside when I walked back in and closed the door." Well, evidently, what happened was Bootsy got locked outside. So he was kind of like hanging around the house. And I live on a dead end street. And the guy who owns like most of this block that I live on also owns a glass factory that's right behind my place. And they saw Bootsy walking around in their parking lot and on the dead end street. And then Bootsy walked around to the front of the house, and evidently he sat in front of the house and waited. And some lady who lives 4 doors down from us was walking by our house. She sees Bootsy sitting in front of the stairs, right on the sidewalk. Bootsy walks up to her, makes eye contact with her. She pets him, and then he runs up the stairs, and then he looks inside. So this girl was like, "I think this dog lives here." So she rang our doorbell, just taking a chance that he was our dog, because he was so smart when he got locked out. He figured out how to get somebody walking by the house who didn't even know us to ring our doorbell so that he could come back in. So I remember my guy Dan Levy telling a story on his show, talking about how big dogs are loyal, you know. And when he told the story about how like you could like open up your front door and look at your German shepherds and be like, "Go out there," and they'd be like, "Well, not if you're not going out there." You know, like they're very loyal. They want to know what you're doing. They kind of sync up with their owners, and somehow Bootsy Bootsy was locked out and he got a human to let him in. That's how smart he was. So yeah, that's one of my favorite Bootsy stories, man. I'm sure there's a lot more good ones, but I appreciate you bringing that up, Victor. And it's making me tear up just a little bit telling that story, man. I appreciate the donation. I hope you guys really enjoyed the story. And my guy Clint saying, "I'm going to start a Weezy nonprofit and call it Shaver." Let's go, man. I don't think I can beat this COVID unless I get at least $250,000. So let's get that GoFundMe for Weezy. We'll do like a Save Ferris kind of thing. Only it'll be Save Weezy. And I think I can beat this, but only with your financial help, people. Only with your financial help. And my guy Victor doing the job here for us, getting donations. We got a ring, a ding ding. My guy Eli with the $20 super sticker. I can feel myself beating the shit out of this COVID already with all these donations that you guys have rolling in here. I appreciate you, Eli. Thank you so much for the donation, man. You're always supporting the show, and it means a lot how much support you show, because it really helps. It really helps, honestly. Thank you so much, man. We got Rousus in the room saying, "Yo, Unc, I took the under 10 minutes in the Na Liang fight on Prize Picks. I think it hits more than not, but JJ isn't really a finisher, and that kind of scares me. Do you think it hits?" I do think it hits, yes. JJ is not a finisher, but it's 20 times easier to finish an exhausted fighter than it is to finish a fighter that is still breathing through their nose and is still, has all of their physical faculties about them. Na Liang fights like her hair is on fire, like she's triple parked in the middle of an expressway. You know, she just does not have a gas tank, and no human being could fight like her for 15 minutes and keep that kind of a pace. She's just a ball of adrenaline, and she goes out there, and if she doesn't get the finish in the first 3 minutes, she gets finished at the end of the first round or the beginning of the second. So yeah, I do think it hits. I think it's a great spot. Under 10 minutes for JJ Aldrich fight time on Prize Picks would be in my play this week for sure. 3 ass shavings of the week on this card. Yeah, I got Waldo, but I also think that Junior Tafa could shave some ass. And then obviously there's some big favorites on the card that will probably win violently. And then we got Professor Chaos is in the room saying Rose has 2 wins over JJ and 2 over Wei Lee. She is still very elite in a striking match. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we got to find out how she looks for sure. And she has fought that really hard level of competition. I think 2 fights against Andrade even, 2 against Joanna, 2 against Wei Lee. She really has fought the who's who. But now she's coming up a weight class, fighting someone that's going to be much bigger and stronger than her. So we'll see how it goes. But Manon Firo is a very, very good striker, so she is not going to be out of her depth either. I think she might be a better striker, Manon Firo, than Joanna Jędrzejczyk, than Wei Lee, just because of the size, just because of the length difference, and because of the style that she fights with that karate style. So hard to close distance on her, and she just manages that distance with those side kicks to the belly. Really makes it difficult to get into the pocket and land shots on her. Her striking defense is elite. We got Eli saying, get better, Weezy. With your kind donation, I can get the help that I need, Eli. So I truly appreciate you, brother. Where are all the finishes on this card? Dude, I think this card is pretty much all finishes. I mean, let's look at the fight doesn't go to decision lines here on the prop template. Choi Aarons, 58%. So it's above more than 50%. 73% for Kinoshita Goff. It'll be around 66% for not Aldrich, around minus 200. Minus 170. So, 63% here for this fight. And Jaquani Oleksiejczuk, 73%. Kazama Armfield, 66%. Acosta Bresky, 55%. Tafa Porter, 76%. Blanchfield Santos is one of the fights that is not going to finish according to the bookies, plus 215 here. Nakamura Garcia, 78% implied probability. Chikadze, so really the Chikadze Caceres and the Blanchfield Santos fights are the only fights that are going to be favored to go the distance. Everything else is favored to finish inside the distance. So we are expecting violence in Singapore this week. Nate Robinson is in the room saying, do you listen to many other UFC betting shows like yours? Who do you recommend the most for good reads and insight? See, now what you're going to do here to me, Nathan, is you're going to get everybody that I don't mention pissed off at me, okay? So that's a problem. I don't want to do that because I'm always going to forget the people that I do listen to. But I mean, I listen to so many other podcasts, but I want you guys to know that one of the things that I do is, one of the reasons I do my stuff on Tuesday night is when I first started doing this show, Contender Series was on. So it just seemed perfect timing to go 10 o'clock Central Time on Tuesday nights after the Contender Series was over. But I also wanted to get my stuff out before most people did. Most predictors don't get their videos out before me. I know Blood Money MMA Bets always gets his shit out before me. I know that Brady's always ahead. He's always ahead of me. So he's always getting his full card predictions out ahead of me. I know that the We Want Picks guys usually have stuff going on early in the week. They're always early in the week. They're always working. So I'm usually one of the first people to the table giving official predictions, but those guys are the ones that go before me. Today I watched Best Fight Picks. I watched Narco Cop on Dan Levy's show. I watched Santino and Brandon do on Santino's channel. And believe me, all these guys that you see me on their shows, I watch their shows whenever I have time. But the problem is that keeping up with these stats, I mean, most other cappers don't have the kind of obligations behind the scenes that I do to update and curate all these stats that I have. I mean, you guys know what I have access to here. So this is so much a part of what I do. There's really no days off for me. So, but yeah, I'm not going to name a whole bunch of shows here because then I'm just going to piss off the people that, that I didn't mention. So I'll tell you, my guy Brady that I've been doing stat diggers with, I'm watching him every week. I try to watch Santino and Brandon every week. Dan Levy is one of the OGs of the game. He's been doing this forever. He's been doing this probably 5 times longer than I have. So there are so many people in this space that do amazing work, and I just don't want to name anybody else more than that right now, simply because I want to keep it as short of a list as possible and piss off as few people as possible. And then my guy Go Flamingo saying, crush a clove of garlic on a spoon, top it with some quality honey, suck that down 3 times in a day, and nothing can kill you. Dude, I love natural remedies, and it's that kind of shit that really does keep us healthy. And yeah, man, I got a shitload of garlic in the other room, and I've got quality honey, not that cheap corn syrup shit. Your Uncle Weezy doesn't play around when it comes to his natural sweeteners. Natural agave, natural honey, fucking maple syrup out of a tree, son. I ain't playing with you. And I can do all those things because I got my guy like Go Flamingo here giving me a $10 donation. I got my guy Eli giving me a $20 donation. I got my guy Vic with the $10 donation. I can already feel myself getting over the COVID that's trying to kill me unless I get a $250,000 GoFundMe for Save Weezy. We got Professor Chaos saying, not your internet. It's down for me too. Oh, okay. That's good to know that it's not just me that can't get Bet Online info here. Wow. Yeah, it is really down. Okay. Good to know. Thank you for that information. I thought it was just my internet. So maybe now you'll cancel the help Weezy thing. But Victor Jesus saying, hey Weezy, when you say come on, yeah, that was my I was doing my impression of Brady there. Brady's stripper story is brilliant. I've got one stripper story that I promised to tell the first time a bunch of us all get together at a live UFC card. It is not ready for YouTube, but it's one of my favorite stories to tell. It was actually the story that kicked off the habit, the tradition, the trend that you guys know as story time with Uncle Weezy at my yearly golf trip with my friends. The first story I ever told was this stripper story that happened in Vegas. And yeah, there's usually some really good stripper stories, and that one is one of my best for sure. But it's not ready for YouTube. We got Streamline Gaming in the room saying Caceres will leg kick and win by sub in the third. Yeah, dude, Giga needs to be careful, man, because if he gets sloppy, Alex is really good at taking dudes back standing, and he's got a brick for a head, so he can kind of like hang around in fights and find ways to win a minute here or there, or try to find that big submission. So, and I've heard a lot of people say this week, so it's good to know that I'm not the only one. But I've heard a ton of people go, I just can't get Alex Caceres fights right, and I can't get Alex Caceres fights right. I'm always on the wrong side with Caceres. So yeah, I saw Caceres and I'm like, oh, Giga? Yeah, Giga should fucking kill him. Why don't I put 3 units on Caceres? Because he's going to find a way to win this fight, just because I think Giga's going to win, because that's how good I am at picking Alex Caceres fights. We got the brother man in the room saying, sup, Weezy, oi. Do you think La Niang is a dog favorite against Aldrich? Look, if you're going to bet better in round 1 and round 2. Round 1 is plus 1,000. I think round 2 might be around plus 1,400 or something. And you might even want to wait and see where it opens up on FanDuel, on Bet Rivers, on DraftKings, because yeah, this is going to be a fight that's probably going to end in the first 2 rounds because of the style that Na Liang fights with. So I mean, if you're on that Na side, look for a finish. She's never won a decision in her career, and that career is 25 fights long. So pick her to win inside the distance. Pick her to win in round 1. probably the best way to get the most bang for your buck on any Nalian bet this week. Justin saying, "Oi, howdy, Uncle Weezy, and hello, chat. Sorry to be late. You're not late, brother. You're right on time. Let me know if you have any questions." We've got H. Hui saying, "Nalian been out of action for a year. I hope she learned from her past mistakes and focused on her cardio in that time." Yeah, she needs to focus on getting her emotions in check, because I think it's a lot adrenaline based for a lot of these fighters, because you know that they're training. They should have more than 3 minutes of gas. But, when you're making your walk in front of a crowd of 20,000 people and you're about to fight another grown man or woman in a cage in your underwear, that adrenaline starts pumping. And a lot of times you look up after one round, that round is over, and you take a deep breath and you start to feel all the places that you got hit in the last 5 minutes as you walk back to that stool and you sit down, and then your body kind of says, "I don't have any more adrenochrome to feed the brain," So you're tired now. You're done, And I think that's a lot of what Na Liang deals with, because she's gassed out so many times that if this is going to be her 26th fight and she hasn't fucking figured out she's got a cardio problem yet, then the problem is on Na Liang. So she's just got to figure out how to pace herself and how to fight a style that'll be a little bit, not only that'll be fan friendly, but that'll be a little bit more conducive to her winning fights at this level. Fender Jazz saying, "Always glad to catch you live. Your unique insights and approach are appreciated, Weezy. Thank you for hanging out, brother. It's always great to hear positive feedback like that, my man." Go saying, "Gotta go, Unk. Peace and flapjacks to all." Thank you for the donation, brother. Appreciate you, man. Have a great day, and let's stack them high for UFC Singapore. Rouse is saying, "How do you feel about Armfield under 34.5 significant strikes? I feel like Armfield could get a KO before that hits, or Kazama could stick to him like glue and possibly sub. Thanks for all the help, Unk." So Armfield, 34.5 significant strikes. 135-pound division. Significant strikes, 3-round fights. So 48. So about half go over, right? 48% go over, 52% go under. But like you said, you can't just look at the data, because it's the stylistic matchups of a fight that dictate how it's going to play out in the cage. So I agree with you. I kind of feel like if Kazama doesn't get this fight to the ground early, Armfield hits hard when he's in that pocket, and he could find a knockout in less than 34.5 significant strikes. And if Kazama winds up getting takedowns and making this a grappling match, one thing that we can look at here too is the clinch and ground strikes landed per minute. And the average is about half of what's landed at distance. So you see here, you probably can't see it. Let me zoom in. So distance strikes landed per minute is 4.04 per minute spent at distance. But when you're in clinch and ground control positions, only 1.26, or I'm sorry, it's 4.56 for the average of the winner and loser. 4.56 here, and it is 2.18 for clinch and ground strikes. So less than half the amount of strikes land when you're in control time positions. And guys like Armfield and Kazama spend a lot of time in control time positions. So, let's say that fight takes place 15 minutes in control time positions. Even at average, you'd see about 30 significant strikes landed. So if you like that stylistic read, I think that the under 34.5 significant strikes for Armfield is a good play this week. Bedoya Armfield is plus 110. I'm picking Kazama, so I wouldn't parlay Armfield this week, but I see why people like him. I think he's going to be much better on the feet, and it's going to be up to Kazama to get the fight where he's going to be better. Marcel Brown saying, "For sure, man, but now Leon quits. She's done taking her ball and going home." Yeah, no, you're right, man. She runs completely out of energy, and then people quit. We got more finishes this weekend, says Lucas Olzawi. What's up, dude? We got Ruthless Soda Pop saying, "Oi, Weezy, thinking of playing Span sub, Acosta Bresky over 2.5. What do you think the chances are of that hitting?" Well, Span sub is probably like 3 or 4 to 1. Um, and then Bresky over 2.5 is I think a little bit of juice in that, maybe around minus 110. Where is that? So minus 125 for the over 2.5. But it's important to note that all 5 of Bresky and Acosta's fights have went over 2.5 rounds. So even though it's a small sample size, the trend is towards the over here. We just got to worry about if Cortez Acosta lands some big shots. I like the finish only prop for Cortez Acosta this week. Got it at minus 215 for 2.15 units, looking to win 1. I think Acosta is very durable here. So I think really all you got to worry about is whether Acosta finishes Bresky. My guy Nigel Lee is in the room saying, "What's up, gentlemen of leisure and MMA lovers? Oi, what's up, dude? Wait, what? COVID is still a thing? Yeah, my girlfriend still has those COVID tests, and so she was when she got back from Paris. I told her, I'm like, you got to stop flying coach with all these tuberculoids and these like they got all the lepers on coach. You got to stay in that first class. That way you're not with the scumbags and you're not getting sick, but she doesn't listen to me anyway. But yeah, so she got sick. Now I can feel myself getting sick, but my immune system with your $250,000 of help, everybody, is going to absolutely crush this thing. My guy Patrick, I'm just here for the Now Liang banter. Haircut you can set your watch to. I have a sneaking suspicion she's not a natural blonde, but I don't want to be speaking out of school here. But yeah, man, beautiful haircut. Beautiful man, Patrick. Thank you for hanging out with us. Let me know if you got any questions, brother. Fierro is going to steamroll Rose. I don't know if it'll be a steamroll, but I do like her to win. Her, like I say, her striking is going to be very difficult for Rose to deal with. Nigel saying, Daz Files, those are 2 of my 4 horsemen. Woo! We got Vic saying, hey, Weezy, I got a 3-legger on Prize Picks. 0.75 units for a 3-unit profit. Tell me if you like it. Aldridge, less than 10 minutes. Yes, absolutely. Waldo, over 12 and a half minutes. I kind of like that. I think there's a chance that Waldo might get a finish, but there's like literally no chance. Like Waldo Cortez Acosta is ridiculously durable, and he's got fantastic conditioning. And Bresky is not known for being a heavy hitter as a heavyweight. So I do like the over 12.5 minutes in that fight, as long as Waldo doesn't get a finish, and he hasn't gotten one yet. But he did beat 7 shades of shit out of Chase Sherman. So it might get close. That one might get close. And then the Holloway Zombie over 15 minutes. I like that. We talked about the 2.5 being a good bet at minus 250. I think also the over 15 minutes is an excellent look as well, man. I like that a lot. So yeah, I think that one hits, dude. I might even tail you on that. I might even add Nakamura over 5 minutes to that as well. Might be an interesting way to play it. I'll keep it cool in the room saying, Weezy, it's been a while since I've been here. Glad to see you're looking more prosperous than ever. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, dude, things are good other than being sick. But yeah, things are all right, man. It's good to have you in here. Let me know if you got any questions for me. And he's saying, what's up to Vic? I see you're still going strong too. Keep it cool. I try for sure. Alex Caceres is a 50-50 fighter, meaning it's a coin flip every time with him. So it's hard to nail down picks on him. Yeah, dude, I agree with you. Man, I need some fucking aspirin. My head's starting to hurt. Oh, God. Getting all stuffed up and shit. I'm terrified to bet against Caceres. He always makes me look bad regardless of who he's fighting. Dude, you're not the only one, Vic. I'm staying away. I'm just staying away. Keep it cool saying just avoid it. Don't force bets. That's a great way to snowball losses. I couldn't agree more, man. The brother man saying, thanks, Weezy. You got it, dude. EQ, Planet, Orange, Purple, Ring. Let's go. We got Remdog saying all Nas finish came against non-UFC competition. I don't think there's enough power in that little stick body of hers to KO anyone UFC level. Remdog, you couldn't be more wrong, my friend. Now Liang moving from 115 up to 125. And I heard that she didn't put on 10 pounds of muscle. I heard it was 50. I think she's coming for that belt at 125. And I don't think that it's the headache or the COVID or the fever talking at all. I am as sane as I have ever been right now, Remdog. I need help. Get some water. By the way, Vic, this is the second glass of water. So you cashed that minus 850 max bet. Congratulations on your 0.57 units. Huh? Mm. I tend to agree with you there, Rem Dog. I mean, obviously the finishes aren't over high level competition at all. She's been finished by a lot of UFC fighters on the regional scene as well. So yeah, Na's not great. She got cut for a reason. The only one I like on your parlay is max to go over 15 minutes. Enhance, he says. Fender Jazz saying, August 22 marks 3 years betting MMA for me. Slightly profitable. Bet Burgos and sealed a 6-event losing streak tonight. My worst streak ever. I'm picking Giga with confidence, so he'll lose. Yeah, dude, it's hard when you get in a little bit of a skid. It's hard not to think too much of yourself when you're winning, and it's hard not to think that you suck when you're losing. And it's always closer to the middle, you know. Chances are maybe you do suck. Sometimes I suck. I mean, I lost 8 units 3 weeks ago, got reverse swept, had a 5-unit max bet on Kennedy and Chekwu, who got sparked in the first round by Dustin Jacoby. So yeah, we all suck sometimes, but it's about the mindset, and it's about not forcing anything. It's about knowing what works and sticking to your instincts. Like Clint says, trust your balls. You know, you really should trust your balls. Always trust your gut. It's gonna help you make better decisions. I would think Span is looking to finish Smitty. I know Smitty finished him by sub. He has that kind of ego where he needs to prove something, but I also don't like betting method of victory. Yeah, I don't bet method of victory almost ever. But Boob saying COVID is the biggest scam in the 21st century. Yeah, dude. I don't know what YouTube thinks of that, but I'm just gonna say I'm getting a cold right now. I'm getting a cold. And like most people that get a cold, you don't live through it unless you get $250,000 worth of donations from your loyal fans in a nonprofit called Shaver, set up by our guy Clint from the Die Hard MMA podcast. That's how we beat COVID. Get your Uncle Weezy $250,000, and I promise you, I'll be here next week breaking down these fights. Rusty Colon in the room saying that Aljo upset destroyed my 7-fight parlay. I was on Aljo too, man. I thought he fought like a complete dumbass, but I don't want to go into it any more than that. It was just he didn't fight a game plan that was a winning game plan against that particular opponent. Bresky got some wrestling for the upset. Yeah, he can wrestle a little bit. I don't think he's getting Waldo Cortez accosted down. Wayne saying Giga could lose, right? Is Alex legit with wrestling and ground game? Alex doesn't wrestle at all. So no, he's not. But he can take your back if you get caught slipping. Weezy with the wisdom. When you're deep in that losing streak, it feels like you'll never win again, and everything you thought you knew about MMA is a farce. It's true, man. And it's hard not to think that when you're on a losing streak. Maybe you do suck. Thanks, Weezy. No, I mean, no. Look, there's a lot of people who suck, dude. Just so you know, like you look at this, right? Bet MMA tips. Oh, yeah, it's right here. It's right here on the top of total MMA handicappers, 5,688. Profitable MMA handicappers, 2,138. Somebody with a calculator, do a quick 2,138 and divide it by 5,688. And those are the people that are tracking their bets. Those are the people that are passionate enough about MMA betting to go out there and put their name and their track bets on the line so that other people can see them. More than half of them are not profitable over the long term. So I'm not saying you suck, obviously, Fender Jazz. What I'm saying is that a lot of people suck. Chances are, if you're a long-term MMA gambler, you probably suck. The odds say it's a plus EV bet. If you draw one name out of that hopper of 5,688 MMA handicappers, chances are, you're picking out a name that sucks 60% of the time, maybe, So, yeah, man, it's a hard game. You have the VIG, you have the variance, you got all the chicanery, the fixed fights, the bad judging, the shit reffing, the last minute changes, the weight misses, injuries that were undisclosed going into the fight. And you laid a bunch of units on a guy who went into the fight with one fucking arm and nobody knew it, It's a hard hard game to be profitable. But when you keep that right mindset, when you value process over results, and your process is well thought out, you're gonna make some money, man. Keep it cool. Say, my girlfriend got this advanced COVID last weekend. She's unvaccinated and it was a cough. Yeah, I'm unvaccinated too. And my girlfriend is vaccinated and she's the one that got it. So yeah, I mean, I did not get vaccinated against this thing. So I'm pretty happy about that at this point with what I'm seeing. But it is what it is. It's going to be a cough, and my immune system is undefeated. You guys, I was on my deathbed when I was 3 months old. You're just not killing this guy, not for a little while. It'll be a heart attack maybe in about 14 years. I'm thinking, a real, just a and then I just go down like a sack of potatoes. That's going to be how your Uncle Weezy goes. I'm planning for it. We got Cuban Assassin saying, happy Weezy Winslow Wednesday. It is good to see you in here, my man. Thank you for hanging out. We got Immaculaton 3 saying, Bresky will headbutt, nut shot, whatever to get a break when he's tired. Yeah, that's the kind of fighter I want to be behind. LOL, cheat for my money, especially when you're getting that plus money. It makes it even better when you got a plus money cheater. Thunder Jazz saying, totally hear you, Weezy. It's rarefied air to not lose money despite what people may present online. It's the truth, man. I mean, it's right there on the screen, dude. It's right there on the screen. 5,688 people who care enough about MMA to track their bets, and less than half of them. 2,844 would be half. This is 2,138. It's less than 40% that are profitable. It's a hard long-term game to win. We got Boob with the Pure Blood crew. Let's go. Pure immune system, shaving ass. We got Wayne Spurlock saying, a lot of suck talk going on here. Yeah, don't gambling if you can't handle losing. No one is 100% winning every time. Might be lucky to be 50% winning for the year. Yeah, dude, if you're up for the year, it was you spend a lot of time doing it. So, I mean, it may not necessarily be worth the time, but, it's good to be up, but most people do wind up the year down. But not everybody's putting as much into it as the people that watch these kind of shows, the people that watch, me and everybody else that does amazing work in this community. So yeah, man, I appreciate all you guys. 40 of you, leave me a comment down below if you're watching this on a replay and you got a question, let me know. I'll try to answer it in the comments for you. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. I'd like to thank everybody that donated to the show today. That really means a lot to me. And Victor saying, thank you so much for taking the time to answer our questions and comments on. You have a good night. Guys, don't be cheap. Join the Patreon. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, the Patreon's and you're not just supporting me with that. You're getting stats that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else for this kind of money. Honestly, it's going to help you make better decisions with your MMA gambling. Keep it cool, saying you can't worry about little losses. That's part of the game. You have to worry about the big losses because that ends the game. And that's what bankroll management is about. It's about minimizing those big losses and keeping that bankroll around forever. Yog saying, Weezy, will you pull an all-nighter or wake up early for the card? I'm thinking it's definitely going to be waking up early, especially if I'm sick on fight day, like I feel like I'm getting right now. So that's about it. And then we got Eli at 38%. What's up, man? You guys, I'm done. Let's go. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. Hit that subscribe. Leave me a comment down below. Join the Patreon. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Singapore. Good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow on Pub Sports Radio, 8 o'clock Central Time for the DFS show with Gordo, with Brady, and with Monk. You guys have a great night, and I will talk to you all soon. Sleep well and be well.